In an announcement on Tuesday, the Trump administration made waves following its contentious decision to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals policy. The program will be phased out over the next 6 months, giving Congress time to pursue an alternative plan in the interim. At least 800,000 children have benefited from the program to date, which protects the offspring of parents now living in the U.S. without legal documentation. Natasha, I think 17,000 of those kids at least are in the area now. Here in Colorado, what do you see happening locally and in Congress?
Hopefully a lot, and hopefully it will not involve these children being hurt any further than they have this week. The thing that is truly troubling for me is that obviously this policy was flawed. It was always a workaround. It was always a temporary fix to something larger that needs to happen, which is coming up with comprehensive and cohesive immigration reform. And as a result of that didn't happen for years. I mean, Congress has been unable to do that time and time and time again, which is why this policy was put in place. What disturbs me right now is this is such a political move. And the political move is a high-risk gamble where the chips on the table are these 800,000 kids and 17,000 that are really locally connected to us as well. That is a risk I don't want to take. These are people. These are children who have come here, who have sometimes not known the country that their parents were from. They don't necessarily speak the language from the country that their parents were from. They have built an entire life here, and to have that ripped away, to have us say to them, come out of the woodwork, you've come out, you get on our registers, you tell us who you are, and we will protect you. And then to take that away is despicable to a level that is truly mind-boggling, I think, for many Americans today. So yes, I hope Congress does something. I'm just not sure it's actually going to happen.
Roger, do you think Congress can do anything? And what do you think about Trump throwing that ball into Congress's court?
I knew you'd ask it that exact way to me, the Republican in the room. I got to tell you, I agree totally with Natasha. This was badly formulated. It was badly presented. The history of this is bad. America, we owe more to these children than what we're doing right now. Many of them have come here, gone to school, been part of our community. Many are served in our military. That was a pathway to citizenship. You see the stories in Houston. There were a lot of paramedics. One volunteer, a hero, lost his life saving lives in Houston. They deserve better than what we did. And then what we did on top of it, when I say we, I mean Republicans, not only did we not collaborate, not only did we hold hostage this idea of a pathway to citizenship for the last 8 years, but then Donald Trump muddied the water with that tweet following. So here he said, okay, I'm going to make a decision. We're all going to do it. Congress, here it's yours. We throw you the ball. And then he says, well, if they can't do it, then maybe in 6 months I'll revisit it. I just think that's unfair. We need more stability. I know he won election by being the disruptor, but at some point in time we need some stability. We need some. I'm tired. I don't know about you. One more day of CNN and Fox News. I'm just exhausted. It's just back and forth. It just doesn't seem like it has a plan. 6 months, not going to happen. I'm hoping that we find some sort of middle ground. I mean, you've got people like Cory Gardner, Michael Bennett. They see the same on the same page on this. Kaufman, he's also working on it. And then, of course, you've got Cynthia Kaufman, who refused to join the lawsuit. So I think there's a will in Colorado. We may have to do our own in-round. Obviously, Denver, Hancock has made some real inroads about what they will and what they won't do in working with ICE. So I think there's will. It just may have to happen in a different way than we've ever done it before, not on a federal level. I know it's a federal issue. We may have to deal with it ourselves here in Colorado.
Eric, are there enough people who can move to the middle ground that there can be some kind of solution?
One would like to think so, and yet one wouldn't bet it. The Democratic Party has moved so far left these days. The Republican Party is, as Roger would be testament to, of mixed minds on this, but the dominant wing of the Republican Party is pretty far right and pretty far intransigent on this. I start this consideration, and it's probably better television if we had some disagreement around this table, and I don't think we're going to have disagreement on this particular issue. But I come at it from this fundamental principle that I learned as a child, that was impressed upon me by my parents, that you don't punish children for the conduct of the adults. Right. My parents, both being Holocaust refugees, we went back, I was a 15-year-old kid, and we went back to Germany, and my father impressed on us kids that we could not blame his peers that he was seeing again 30 years later, his classmates that he was seeing 30 years later, who are now middle-aged adults. But at the time of the madness in Germany, they had been powerless kids. And so I think the same principle holds here. We are trying to punish kids who have really only known this country, or even if they had known another country, they did not come here willingly. That was not on their volition. They were brought here rightly or wrongly or under whatever circumstances by their parents. This is a high-stakes gamble, as Natasha correctly pointed out. Maybe they pull it off. I heard this on a news report this morning that the Koch brothers, of all people, are prepared to put major money into protecting Dreamers and into a comprehensive immigration reform movement. That's one indicator. I think the pressure will be on Congress and increasingly on Congress to fix this, but it's a question of where do you find middle ground, to your question, Patty, between pretty hard left and pretty hard right, and middle ground is in short supply in this day and age.
And Justine, I'm guessing you are not going to disagree with most of the people at this table.
No, I won't disappoint anyone. I won't, and I completely agree with everything everybody stated here. One thing that I find interesting, we talk a lot about like Dreamers being kids, but a lot of them are my age and my peers and my colleagues that I work with who are contributing members of society, who are productive, who are doing things that are really helping move the American dream forward. And so it's very personal to me because these are people with family and these are people I've grown up with and I know very personally. What I see here is the president had an opportunity to fulfill a campaign promise and then toss it back to Congress. And right now, hopefully, I think the most positive outcome could be we could possibly get a bill passed through this. I mean, I'm usually the optimist on this panel, I think, a lot of times. But I think that maybe that will open up the dialogue that really needed to happen, because there are a lot of people coming together on this issue on both sides. And I think as Americans, we can agree that this is not in our nature and this is not the type of country we represent. So to continue, I think moving forward, hopefully we'll see some progress.